First game Saturday, you have the number 10 Miami Hurricanes traveling to College Station to take on the Texas A&M Aggies. Aggies are favored by 3.5 here. This is an 11 o'clock kickoff on ABC. Terrible timing. I don't know why they put this game at the beginning of it. We've talked about it. There was, scheduling things that were thought of before, but you thought this would at least be a 3:30 game instead of a 11 o'clock game. But here we are, and these are the cards that are dealt to us, and we're gonna have to, just got to go out there and play. So, big takeaway here is, well, I lost my note there. You know what? I let you go first last time. I'm gonna let you go first again. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm going to need to run this a little more smoothly. I apologize to the listeners out there.
Get it together.
Yep.
It's the biggest week of the year.
I know. I thought, as I was out there digging trenches, so didn't have time to get my thing in line as like I normally do. But go ahead.
Okay, so I think this one for me, it's probably going to be a very good game. I don't see it being a blowout. I don't see it being, just a lopsided game. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a physical matchup. Miami is a very physical front on defense, not in the sense that they play real sound football, but in the sense that they are built like an SEC team as far as their interior defensive line, their defensive line as a whole, their linebacking group, their secondary. They're aggressive. They fly around. But like most Miami teams, these guys do take a lot of chances. They're very big on the big play potential on defense, which sometimes gets them. They do have a couple of massive playmakers on that defensive line and in that linebacking group. Their offense, I don't trust very much. I don't trust Carson Beck. I've never trusted Carson Beck, and I think what A&M does well on defense is in Carson Beck's kryptonite. If you can get pressure on him, he panics, he throws picks, he doesn't take care of the ball whenever he's under duress. And the one year that he didn't do that was the year that he won the national championship. So you just don't really know which Carson Beck you're going to get, but 9 times out of 10, you get the one that panics and throws picks. So if Cassius Howell and that defensive line for the Aggies can get pressure on Carson Beck, I think it could be a long afternoon for him. They do have a lot of playmakers at the wide receiver position. They do a lot of the short screen game and let their guys make plays. So open field tackling is going to be very, very important in this one. And based on that last game for the Aggies, that wasn't real great. Mm-hmm. That open field tackling. So all that to say, things that you can't factor in that make a big impact on the game is going to be that it's a home game for the Aggies. I think that environment is going to be something that Miami probably hasn't faced arguably all year. I mean, I'm sure they've had some that come close, but not really that close. That place is going to be absolutely rocking. And when you have a team that's already not real sound in discipline, you get to Kyle Field and the damn field's vibrating and you can't hear yourself fart. I mean, I expect a handful of penalties coming out of the Hurricanes. I expect some drive killers. I think the Aggies win this game, and might be biased. It might be my helpless romantic self, but I think the Aggies are going to win this one. I think Elko has extra time, and Le'Veon Moss is questionable. So if he plays, I'll feel way more confident in my pick. If he doesn't play, I'm still pretty confident in it. I just think they've had enough time to gather themselves. They have the home field advantage. I think they get back to being that team that we saw that played LSU. They get back to being that team that can win in a multitude of ways, and I think they do enough to get past the Hurricanes.
Yeah, so if you look at these two teams on paper, they're very similar. I think you can look at them on tape too, and you can see a lot of similarities and where they're strong at. Both teams are their biggest strengths are in the trenches on both sides of the ball. Miami has one of the better offensive lines in the country, so does Texas A&M on their side. And the same will be said for their defensive lines, respectively, on each side. They have great pass rushers. They can get there. They have, they've, somewhat at times, it seemed like they've left some things to be desired on the rush side. Miami has a better rush defense than Texas A&M does. If you look at it by the numbers, so the Aggies have the 20th ranked overall offense in the country. So they're averaging 454 yards on the ground. Miami's defense is only allowing 277 yards on the ground, which is 11th in the country. A&M is averaging 261 passing yards, which is 34th in the country. Miami's only allowing 190, which is 30th. A&M is rushing the ball 192 times. That's 25th best. And Miami is only giving up 86 yards per game, which is 7th best in the country. And then scoring-wise, Texas A&M has averaged 36 points, which is 14th, and Miami is only given up 13.8, which is 6th best in the league. On the flip side of that, if you were to look at Miami's offense, they have the 28th ranked offense in the country, 424 yards per game. Texas A&M has the 19th ranked, giving up 309 yards per game. Miami has 257 passing yards per game, which is 19th. Texas A&M is giving up 182 passing yards per game, which is 21st in the nation. Miami is averaging 148 rushing yards per game, which is 78th best in the nation. Texas A&M is giving up 127 rushing yards per game, which is 38th. And then scoring-wise, Miami is scoring 34.1 points a game, which is 20th, and Texas A&M is giving up 21.9 points per game, which is 41st. So the big things that are takeaways here is that what A&M's Achilles heel has felt like to me all year is that run defense. Now on paper, they've had a decent run defense. They are, they're 38th in the nation. That's nothing to scoff at. But there has been times where you feel like, man, they are definitely heavily influenced on rushing the passer, and that's what they like to do. There's been times where they just look at, hey, they leave gaps open. Their linebackers haven't filled them super well. The defensive line has got moved around to where they've opened up holes. So those are things that they really need to shore up to make sure that they don't let that running game get going for Miami and let the play action passing open. You talked about Carson Beck. He started really hot. Everybody was really high on him. At the beginning of the year, they had a really good run. They stumbled to the middle point of the season. But these last couple games that Miami has played, they've played really well, and they've put some good film on tape. So if you just look at the last 4 games that they've played, they played Syracuse. They beat them 38-10. They played they played NC State 41-7 Miami. Virginia Tech 34-17. And then they went to Pitt, and they played in that, under 30-degree weather game there, and they won 38-7. Now, it's going to be 70 degrees in College Station. Weather's not going to be a factor. It's not going to matter. Miami drew a good weather advantage to them. Where they did draw, the bad straw was they're going to get 100,000 plus people in there yelling at them, and it's going to be shaking, and it's tough. So, but Carson Beck, if you look at him over these last couple games towards the end of the season, he's come around and he hasn't been that shaky quarterback. Now you can say, hey, it's because of the level of competition that he's played. They haven't gotten after him, or that running game has picked up a little bit here. If he's had a 10-1 touchdown to interception ratio over the last 6 games. He's really picked it up in that aspect, and he hasn't been the turnover machine that he was towards the middle of the year that really caused the unrest of people and basically writing them off. So he's played a lot better in that aspect. Texas A&M on their side of the ball with the defense, They are getting some help back. They've got Henderson coming back at safety, who's been a multi-year starter that really understands that defenses can help guys get in the right place, help shore up that back end of the passing. And then you're getting Scooby Williams back at linebacker too. He's probably their most athletic, dynamic linebacker that they have. York's a great linebacker, but Scooby he's just got more athletic ability. He really showed it against LSU. He was making a lot of big plays, shutting down things, and you're going to welcome him back with open arms so he can get back. These 2 weeks have really helped them get healthy on not only the offensive side of the ball, if you look at Le'Veon Moss, but the defensive side as well. So those two guys are going to really be welcome back. But stopping the run is the biggest deal. Now, that's not, I'm not a genius for saying that. That's every football game. But Texas A&M has to be able to stop the run to where you're making Carson Beck get uncomfortable, because he will pick you apart if you give him enough time to drop back and get that play action pass going and get it open. The screen passes that you talked about, Miami's the best team in the country running screen passes, but Texas A&M is the best team in the country against screen passes. I don't know the exact stat off the top of my head, but there are stats out there that show, hey, when the screens ran, this is what, those odds are. So those are strengths versus strengths. These teams match up really well just on paper and the things that they've done. So Texas A&M also ranks 111th in the country at a -7 turnover margin. And then Miami's ranked 12th and plus nine in that margin too, in that turnover margin. So those are big things. A&M has to figure out a way to take away the ball and to put that pressure on Miami, because if they continue to give them opportunities on offense to keep drives alive and going, it's going to be a really long day for them. So if you look at A&M side of the ball, Miami hasn't necessarily, they've done a really good job of containing mobile quarterbacks. Now, there's not going to be a really big game plan in there with Marcel Reed to say, hey, we're gonna make him mobile. Now, he is known to pop off the occasional 40-yard run and do those kind of things. But Miami as a whole, if you look at who they've played this year, there's a list of names. I mean, really, I think they've given up like 74 rushing yards combined to all quarterbacks all season. So they have a really good talented defensive line that is good at getting after the quarterback. I don't think that they've faced a rush offense like Texas A&M when it's at its best. Now, they did play Notre Dame earlier in the season, and they've got the best running back in the country, and Jeremiah Love, but that was very early on. And Texas A&M, when they're at their best, they have a five-headed monster, right? They've got Le'Veon Moss, you've got Reuben Owens, E.J. Smith, Amari Daniels, Morrow. You've got so many different guys, that you can throw at this. So Texas A&M's priority really needs as well on offense to get that rushing game going. It looks like Le'Veon Moss is trending towards playing. Elko threw out there, get your cameras ready at practice. He was moving around, looked like he was fine. So that's a big sign for Texas A&M, because Le'Veon Moss is that power back that they've desperately needed down into the red zone areas and getting those real physical yards that you need. And he's got breakaway speed. He's just a big play waiting to happen at any point. So it'll be big. You want to keep it away from Reed having to make the plays all on his own. Now, he definitely has the arm talent and the talent just overall to do it, but it's really big on Texas A&M to put that number 7th ranked rush defense, in check early and control the trenches. That's how you win the football games, especially in playoff football. It is control the trenches. So, and this is the first, this is the first game for both in the playoffs. So it is new territory for both teams, and both are looking to get statement wins. All that being said that you're looking at here, it is, there's a lot. I'm going to pick A&M to win this game, obviously. I think if they can do the simple things that they need to, I'd probably say that they win about by 10 is kind of where my head is right now, like a 31-21 type game. They're able to create that turnover. The home field advantage is just enough, to make something bad happen, get some penalties. You know, A&M's one of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, NFL in college football in penalties. I think they rank 119th in penalties. So there's a lot there that they need to clean up themselves, and you can't shoot yourself in the foot in these games going forward. So with all that being said, give me the Aggies. They that's not being biased. That's not being anything. I just have a little more faith in Elko in this situation and the home field advantage. It's the same thing.
Yep.
So, yeah, Aggies. Easy for me.
I like it. I think the other thing that just sticks in the back of my mind and makes me pick the Aggies is when you look at the level of competition that the Aggies face in the SEC and you look at what Miami faces in the ACC. Miami does have a very impressive defense, but this is a slightly different animal than what they see on a regular basis. And when you look at their common opponents, they both take care of Florida pretty handedly. So I think it's going to be a hell of a game, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I mean, like I said, it comes down to can A&M get that rush offense. They haven't seen a rush offense like A&M's when it's at its best, for sure.